Greetings everyone. Today we will begin a series of talks discussing Prabhuji's writings. At this particular time, we will explore this amazing book by Prabhuji, Bhaktiyoga, Path of Love. I highly recommend for you to acquire this book. It will be very beneficial for your study, and also, like many writings of spiritual masters throughout the history, this is not one-time read. You will be able to, if you're interested in these topics, you will be able to come back to Prabhuji's words throughout your lifetime and always learn and discover something new, or they will resonate in a different way within yourself. The objectives of these talks is to share my humble understanding and many precious moments that throughout the years we have in the presence of Prabhuji, many spontaneous talks, many ideas, and also to refine them for myself and to share with you my exploration of how those things impact my life. And I hope that this will benefit you as well. Before we begin, I feel that the objective of this course is not to convince us in something, as we will see very soon when we read Prabhuji's own words, but we do not need to agree with Prabhuji's words, or we don't need to object them. Some of them will be easy for us to accept, some of them hopefully will push us to think. And more than acquiring information, which we will acquire as well, Prabhuji write on so many different levels, and throughout his writings we will open doors into many different ideas, philosophies, religious paths. But more than acquiring information, I think the greatest value of that, and that's what Prabhuji say himself, that his objective is to inspire people to think. This is how he led his life since quite early childhood. He taught himself, and until this day he is a very, very passionate student. It made me think there is this beautiful name for the master in Hebrew tradition that I think Prabhuji reflects it very much. In Hebrew tradition, one of the ways to refer to the spiritual master is Talmid Chacham, which means a wise student. So for us as spiritual seekers, or people in general that think about life and think about ourselves and what's going on, I think it's very precious, because by associating with these words, it can help us to guide our own search. So without talking any further, let us dive into these beautiful writings. So before we even begin, before the preface, I have to say it because it's so significant in Prabhuji's life and in general the way he shared his message. The book begins with deep gratitude and respect. This book is dedicated to my beloved masters. And this is something that very characteristics for Prabhuji, that he, throughout his long search for over 50 years, traveling the world and meeting many great personalities from many different spiritual traditions, spiritual and religious traditions. Prabhuji has this incredible capacity to inquire, to approach those beings, giving them full credit and always glorifying them, always glorifying the Holy Scriptures and the previous masters. And it's something very beautiful. So we will begin from Preface, and there is so much to say. I don't know how much time it will take. I mean, we can discuss every sentence, but remember, the most important thing is that our objective is to see how those words touching us, how this reflected in our life. This is something very, very basic that in many opportunities when we study scriptures or we would ask Prabhuji different questions, his answer often would be, okay, wonderful, so the theory of creation or this scripture or that scripture, how does this, what importance does it have in your life? So if you know that the God created the earth in 7 days, or that Bhagavad Gita say that on that, or Dhammapada say this or that, how does these words resonate in you? How does this relevant for you? How this relevant for us? So that's what I will try to share, and hopefully by reading Prabhuji's books and watching Prabhuji's lectures, that we have many Prabhuji's lectures on our website. They are freely accessible, and again, you're very welcome if you're interested in these topics to enjoy them. And I really believe that those things can enrich your life and guide you on your own path. So the Prabhuji's preface to Bhaktiyoga, the Path of Love, begins from following sentence. The story of my life is nothing more than a long journey from what I believed myself to be to what I truly am. So just this, I believe that we can stay with this sentence at least for some time. So the story, I would say, the story of my life is a long journey. So very often, and this is the way that Prabhuji often guide us, more than searching for answers, we need to learn and try to ask a good question. So Prabhuji speak about story of his life. We can be inspired very much by story of his life, but how does it relevant for us? What is the story of our life? What is the story of life in general? And Prabhuji say here something so significant. The story of my life is a long journey. So he proposed that the life is a journey. And we hear it often, that life is a journey. But what it means to us. And it's a journey from what we believe ourselves to be, which is a very, very significant statement. Because we perceive ourselves, we come to this world, and for the most part, we didn't choose to appear here. If we lucky, we come to this world welcomed, we're surrounded by love and care, but very often not so much. And throughout our life, we've been taught so many different things. We've been taught to achieve, we've been taught to be useful, we've been taught to compete, we've been taught to become somebody, we've been taught to acquire things from money, material possession, through honor, or even knowledge, respect, so many different things. And this particular word journey, for me, it has a lot of significance in the sense that it's the way to see life. Because you can see life, the way we see life, the way we see ourselves, impact how we live. So it's something very important, very close to us. It's our life. And we want to live our life well. We all come to this world and we want to be happy. We want to live beautiful life. So this word journey, at least in my humble understanding, has a lot of significance because, as Prabhuji brings this example very often, there is a difference between when we need to reach a certain destination or when we travel. We can travel throughout our life, we can travel for work, we always, in general, during our daily life, we are in a constant movement. But most of the time, we move towards something. We move to achieve something. And very often, we completely ignore and completely disregard the way that we travel. So, in my humble understanding and the way this resonates in me is to re-examine our life and to see that our life is a journey. And all the experiences that we're going through, if it's pleasant experiences or unpleasant, if it's pain or sorrow or joy, this is part of the journey. I feel that just by changing this attitude toward life, just by seeing a life as a journey, it can, I know for myself, it can enrich you. It can change your attitude. It can help you to go through difficult times or to see difficult times in a very different light. As Prabhuji said on one of the occasions that this is the reality of this material world, and we see it in different scriptures from Buddha throughout Hebrew scriptures, in all different traditions, because it's a common human experience. So naturally, the men of wisdom, or men of thought, philosophers, mystics, masters, they all looked into those human experiences and express it in different way. And we know that life has joyful moments, but also life has a lot of pain. Our body is very frail, we're very fragile. There are so many things that can afflict us in this world. So Prabhuji said in more than one occasions that pain cannot be avoided. It's part of life. And in a way, we know today that pain is a good thing very often. Physical pain is a sign that shows us that something going wrong with our body, and hopefully we will be able to address it on time. It's part of the mechanism of our self-preservation. But suffering can be avoided. And this is a very significant point. So life, as Prabhuji says, is a journey. And it sounds very beautiful, and we can feel, okay, yeah, life is a journey. Yeah, great. But to live in this way, it's not often easy. But that's another point, that throughout this book and in general throughout Prabhuji's writings, we can find many things that will inspire us, and we wish that we could adapt them now, today, into our lives and live according to them. But sometimes, and I know it from my personal experience, can be very frustrating, that you feel, yeah, I understand that, and yes, I want that, I want to live like that, but this is a bit far away from my reality, and there are so many things that I even didn't think, but there are so many obstacles of why I cannot live like that. I agree, I understand. So why? Because there are many things that maybe we need to learn in life and go. But the most important thing, Prabhuji say, that it's not that right now. So if we understand that life is a journey, and if we understand that changing our attitude will enrich us and will help us to live more profound, to change our quality of life, but we're not able to live like that. Prabhuji say that the very fact that we have some understanding of that, the very fact that we aspire to live in that direction, this is the beginning of our journey. Because as Prabhuji say, our journey always begins, paraphrasing, I think it was a Lao Tzu, that our journey begins where we are. And wherever life, or wherever these words find us in life, that's okay. If we're inspired by them, and even if we ponder, or even if we feel upset that we understand and we cannot live according to them, it's great. Because we are, by very association with these words, with these ideas, we are on a journey. We begin our way. So Prabhuji writes here that it's a long journey. And in a way, when this is another thing that Prabhuji shared with us, that when we read Holy Scriptures, and what are the Holy Scriptures of all humanity? Holy Scriptures are testimonies of the seers of all different traditions, of someone who saw, and we will see that Prabhuji refer to his spiritual masters in this regard, to someone who went deep into life and share from his or her direct experience. So maybe a few thousands or maybe hundreds years from now, as it's often happened, these writings will become a scripture. Maybe will someone decide to make a dogma, which Prabhuji really doesn't like, out of these words, but it's sometimes it's out of hand. But so Prabhuji say here that it's a long journey. And it sounds a little bit, if we think about it, it sounds a little bit paradoxical, because he says it's a long journey from what I believe myself to be to what I truly am. So he put something here in front of us to ponder upon. So he said that you are, or we are, something that we truly are, which means that we cannot be something else, which means that we are that now at this very moment. But there is a long journey. It can be a very long journey. It can take us many lifetimes to reach that point that we can open our eyes, that we can become a seer, that we can see clear, and so on. So it's a long journey, and this is our journey. This is another very important thing, that this thing is very irrelevant for us. It's not a theoretical knowledge, because when we come to this world, as long as we're alive, and maybe not only, I don't know if you believe in reincarnation, maybe not for only this lifetime, this is the story of our life. We can accept it or not, but this is the story of our life. Our life is a long journey from what we believe ourselves to be. And we still far or close to realization of what we truly are. But every single one of us, this is the process of evolution and eventually involution. This is a universal process.